Ever catch someone stealing from you and then watch them call the cops on you like you were the bad guy? Yeah, that's my story. My neighbor up in the Colorado Rockies spent 8 months running her entire little resort hot tub grow room floodlights. You could land a plane with off my power. And when I finally yanked her extension cord out of the ground, she whipped out her phone, dialed 911, and started screaming for the cops like I'd just robbed her. I'm standing there, dirt on my hands, orange extension cord dangling like a caught snake when here she comes. Let's call her Karen, because what else would you call someone like that? Fresh blowout, top-of-the-line Patagonia jacket she's never sweated in, phone already at her ear. Yes, officer. This man is threatening to leave disabled people in the dark. She says it loud enough for every squirrel within 3 counties to hear. And she's looking at me with this smug little smile like she's got me right where she wants me. Joke's on her. Because she picked a fight with the one guy who could if he really wanted to black out the entire mountain with a single phone call. I know, hard to believe, right? Let me back up and explain how I landed in the crosshairs of Karen, Queen of the RV resort, and why she picked the worst possible neighbor to mess with. My name's Jake Morrison. About 2 years back, after 20 years in the Army, I inherited my granddad's cabin up in the Rockies. 40 acres of pines, an old stone cabin built by hand in 47, whole place smells like cedar and wood smoke every time you walk in. Grandpa Henry was a legend up here. Built the workshop with his own hands. Still got his tools hanging up dust everywhere as if he's just stepped out for a minute. I moved up after my discharge looking for quiet. Trying to heal, trying to figure out the civilian world, working remote as an electrical engineer, ironic given what comes next. For a while it was paradise. Creek, out front, wind in the trees, solar panels humming on the roof. Grandpa always said free energy's there for anyone smart enough to grab it. Guess he was right. Then about a year and a half in, along comes Karen Whitmore. Buys the lot down the road, 5 acres, no power, no water, just dreams, and a real estate agent's smile. She's from Phoenix, retired agent herself, if you believe her. Moves in with 3 massive RVs, sets up like she's building a resort. And within the hour, she's knocking on my door, complaining about my truck, my panels, the property standards of a place that hasn't seen standards since the 1800s. A week later, she shows up with tears in her eyes. My disabled brother's visiting. He needs power for his oxygen machine. Could you please just run a tiny cord, just for a few days? She's got the whole act. Voice cracking, designer boots, still clean jacket looking like it just came out of the package. I'm not made of stone. I agree on 3 rules. Small cord, essential items. Only she pays for what she uses. That tiny cord turned into a contractor-grade cable thicker than my wrist. 3 days in her medical equipment morphed into a bubbling hot tub, grow lights, fans, margarita machine, you name it. My electric bill goes from $80 a month to $340. $340. In a cabin where the biggest draw used to be my beer fridge. I confront her and man the gaslighting. Are you sure your meter works? She asks, batting her eyes. Maybe your solar's malfunctioning. Meanwhile, she's burning through $4,000 of my electricity and making me question my sanity. Then came the noise complaints. My morning truck was ruining the peace. She took pictures of my property, showed up, asked about easements, tried to poke holes in every square foot I owned. The entitlement was off the charts. That's when I started paying real attention. The hot tub ran 24/7. The fans melted snow in a 10-foot circle. There were space heaters, welding gear, even a blender that sounded like a jet engine. This wasn't a neighbor in need. This was industrial-scale theft. But Karen didn't know who she was stealing from. Grandpa wasn't just some old-timer. He was the guy who built this cabin, helped found the local power co-op, and passed that legacy down to me. So the day I finally yanked her cord and stood there while she yelled at the cops, it wasn't just about electricity. It was about respect. The sheriff shows up, Deputy Rodriguez, good guy, been up here forever. Karen gives him the performance of her life. He's terrorizing me. He's trying to murder my disabled brother by cutting his oxygen. I nearly laughed. Deputy, there's no brother? Check the RV. Rodriguez sighs, walks over, peeks in nothing but hot tubs, grow fans, and a margarita blender. No oxygen machine, no medical devices, just enough power equipment to run a hospital. Now here comes the twist, because every good story needs one, right? Karen whips out this legal-looking document, all seals and signatures, and claims it's an easement from 1952. Shared utility access, she says, smiling like the cat that ate the canary. Rodriguez looks at it, shrugs, tells us to resolve it in court, but says she can't steal power while there's a dispute. But I know documents. I've spent 15 years reading real electrical paperwork. This thing, modern font, brand new paper, a power company name I've never seen. She'd forged it, and suddenly I realized this wasn't her first rodeo. I spent that night digging, calling in favors. Turns out Karen Whitmore's made a career out of this. Arizona, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Tucson. Everywhere she's lived. There's a pattern. She moves in, finds a weak link, forges documents, steals utilities, plays the victim, then cashes in settlements instead of facing jail. Well, she picked the wrong guy this time. Next day, County Inspector Dale shows up. No relation, though we joke about it. He's embarrassed carrying a complaint about my panels filed by, you guessed it, Karen. Dale checks my setup, shakes his head. Textbook work. Jake, if only your neighbor's RV compound was half as up to code. Turns out Karen never pulled permits for anything. She's racked up 15 grand in unpaid fees and violations. That's when my friend Marcus rolls an old army buddy now, a forensic accountant. I ask him to help document everything because Karen isn't just making trouble, she's committing federal crimes. He brings gear like he's about to star on CSI Mountain Edition. Photographs the meter tampering, the cable runs, everything. We send all the evidence to the co-op and the authorities. And here's the kicker: while we're prepping, I get a call from a lawyer, Karen's new attack dog, threatening federal discrimination lawsuits if I don't restore power access and compensate for emotional distress. You ever hear a lawyer read a script they've used in 3 other states? It's almost funny. That's when the cavalry arrives. Channel 7 shows up with cameras ready to document electrical terrorism against the disabled. Karen's got her full victim theater staged, oxygen tanks, monitors, wheelchair, the works. But Jennifer, the reporter, is no fool. I let her see the real documents, the fake signatures, the meter tampering, the whole operation. Her expose suddenly shifts from evil rural power owner to organized utility fraud ring. That evening, Karen loses it. She trespasses on my land, threatens to destroy my pathetic mountain life, rants about her resources and connections. Her whole mask falls off, replaced by this cold, calculating stare. But by then, the game's already up. Marcus traces her network, finds a criminal enterprise that's been targeting rural utilities all over the Southwest. There's even a corrupt former co-op employee teaching her how to bypass meters. The next morning, I head to the Pine Ridge Power Cooperative office for the first time in years. Margaret, the secretary, recognizes me instantly. Henry Morrison's grandson. Turns out Grandpa was the founding chair, and when he passed, I inherited not just his cabin, but a controlling interest in the cooperative. 40% ownership, tie-breaking vote, the works. Margaret nearly laughs when I show her Karen's forged easement. She's been stealing from the company chairman. We call an emergency board meeting, open it to the whole community. By that night, the center's packed. Every rancher, every small business, every family that relies on co-op power. Karen brings her disabled brother, her lawyer, even tries to get a tree crew to sabotage my lines with a fake emergency order, but the crew chief just shakes his head and leaves. Then comes Karen's final play, the nuclear option. Federal cease and desist orders. Media blitz about retaliatory blackouts against minorities and the disabled. Her lawyers file injunctions. Federal investigators are triggered. She tries to freeze our authority for months. But what Karen's crew doesn't get about mountain communities is this: when you threaten one family's power, you pick a fight with every family on the grid. People stream in from 3 counties. Bill from the hardware store, ranchers, moms, dads, old-timers, even kids. They're all there, demanding answers. And right as Karen launches into her victim monologue, Detective Kowalski from Financial Crimes steps forward, arrest warrant in hand. Karen Whitmore, you're under arrest for federal wire fraud, civil rights violations, and conspiracy to commit interstate utility theft. The room erupts, not in shock, but in applause. For the first time, justice isn't just an idea. It's right there, handcuffs and all. I take the podium. Explain how every kilowatt Karen stole came out of their pockets. How her criminal network tried to turn community values, generosity, trust into weapons. But the thing about mountain folks, we might be spread out, but we don't fight alone. The board votes unanimous. Karen's banned from the cooperative, her service terminated, her property seized for unpaid taxes. 6 months later, Karen's in federal prison. Her lawyer lost his license. The so-called disabled brother is serving time for conspiracy. The corrupt utility tech federal pen, different state. The money they stole, over 300 grand, is being used to fund scholarships for local kids studying electrical engineering. Grandpa would have loved that. And me, I finally get it. Legacy isn't just about what you inherit. It's about protecting what your people built and paying it forward. The real win isn't Karen going to prison. It's the community using what she tried to steal to lift itself up. Now every month, Margaret runs fraud prevention workshops. Channel 7 story sparked new laws. And the co-op is stronger than ever. Funny enough, Karen's old property is now a campground for disabled veterans, actual deserving folks who need a safe place to heal. That's what justice looks like up here. Not just punishment, but turning bad into good. The creek's still running. Sarah's garden is thriving and the mountains feel a little safer. So here's my question to you. When does standing up for yourself cross the line? Is it ever okay to take revenge? Or should we always wait for karma to do the heavy lifting? Ever had a neighbor who thought your kindness was a weakness? I want to hear your story. Drop it in the comments, because sometimes karma doesn't just knock. Sometimes it cuts the power.